They say love is blind, but I think love is actually a shield. It covers your eyes, not because you cannot see, but because you choose not to look at the shadows creeping into your own home. For 7 long years, I lived behind that beautiful, protective shield. My name is Clara, and my entire world revolved around one person, my husband, Julian. To everyone outside our small circle, we were the perfect couple, an absolute fairy tale. He was a brilliant, charismatic corporate architect, deeply devoted, and endlessly attentive, or so I believed with all my heart. I still remember the way he used to look at me across the candlelit dinner table, his eyes filled with a warmth that could melt any lingering doubt. He built a beautiful, luxurious life for us, a sprawling house, weekend getaways, and a profound sense of security that I wrapped around myself like a warm blanket. I trusted him with my past, my present, and every single one of my future dreams. Julian thought he was safe. He thought his secrets were buried so deep that no one, especially not his trusting wife, would ever uncover the dark reality of his double life. But a web of lies is only as strong as its weakest thread. It was a quiet night just like any other, until everything changed in an instant. Julian had rushed out of the house for yet another emergency conference, leaving his secondary laptop open on his study desk. It was an oversight he had never made before, a tiny crack in his perfect armor. My heart began to thud heavily against my ribs as I walked into the dimly lit room. A strange, suffocating silence filled the air. I hesitated, my hand trembling over the trackpad. I told myself to walk away, to trust him blindly. But the heavy silence whispered otherwise. With a racing pulse and a sinking feeling, I woke the screen. What I found inside shattered my world into a million irreplaceable pieces, but looking back now, the signs were always there, hidden quietly in the spaces of our home. It started with small things I easily brushed aside. A phone placed face down on the kitchen counter. A sudden influx of late-night business meetings that kept him away until the early hours of the morning. A subtle shift in his tone, a coldness that would vanish the moment I questioned it, replaced instantly by a perfect, practiced smile. "You're just tired, Clara," he would whisper, kissing my forehead with just enough tenderness to make me feel guilty for even doubting him. And I believed him. I wanted to believe him because the alternative was too terrifying to face. I didn't want to admit that the foundation of my entire life was starting to crack. It wasn't just a simple affair. It was a calculated, years-long betrayal that went far deeper than physical infidelity. There were folders, meticulously organized, containing messages, financial transfers, and secret travel itineraries. He wasn't just sharing his heart with another woman, he was systematically draining our shared life savings, channeling assets into a private account under her name. The messages were the most painful part to read. He spoke about me as if I were a mere ghost in his house, an inconvenience he was waiting to discard once he had secured enough of our wealth. The words broken, shattered, and exposed took on a physical weight in my chest. I couldn't breathe. The man who had held me through my darkest days was the very architect of my ruin. He had looked into my eyes every morning, knowing he was stealing my future. I sat in the dark for hours, the blue light of the screen illuminating my tears. The pain was agonizing, an emotional fire that threatened to consume my sanity. I wanted to scream, to confront him the moment he walked through the door. But as the initial shock faded, a cold, sharp clarity took its place. I realized that tears would not save me. Confrontation would only give him a chance to lie and manipulate. My grief slowly hardened into a quiet, unwavering strength. I was done being the victim. If Julian believed he was completely safe, I would let him keep believing it. I copied every single file onto a secure drive, closed the laptop exactly as he left it, and began to plan. But what I didn't know that day was that some secrets are simply too heavy to stay buried forever. Julian thought he was flawless. He thought he had covered every track, wiped away every whisper, and hidden every single betrayal behind his successful career and charming smile. He truly believed he was safe in his web of lies. He didn't realize that a woman's intuition doesn't need a map to find the truth, it only needs a single thread to pull. And that thread finally appeared on a rainy Tuesday evening, an evening that would forever mark the end of the woman I used to be. The trap was set, and he had no idea his safety was about to vanish. The climax of Julian's illusion didn't happen in a loud, dramatic shouting match behind closed doors. It happened in the bright light of day, where his reputation mattered most. 2 weeks later, Julian was hosting a prestigious charity gala at our home, surrounded by his business partners, investors, and family. He stood on the small stage in our living room, holding a glass of champagne, giving a speech about integrity, partnership, and building foundations for the future. He looked magnificent, completely unaware of the storm gathering around him. When it was my turn to present a commemorative slideshow of our journey and his achievements, I stepped up to the projector. I looked at Julian, and for the last time, he gave me that practiced, confident smile. I pressed play. But instead of family photos, the large screen behind him filled with the bank transfers, the hidden account details, and the undeniable text messages exposing his long-term deception and financial fraud. The room fell into a horrifying, breathless silence. Julian's face turned an ash gray as he turned around to look at the screen. The evidence was absolute, clear, and utterly undeniable. He looked at me, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and realization. He tried to speak, to offer an explanation, but the words trapped themselves in his throat. In a single moment, his carefully constructed empire of lies collapsed entirely. The investors walked out, his reputation was destroyed, and the legal authorities took over. Today, the house is empty, and Julian is facing the consequences. As I sit by the window, watching the rain fall, I only feel a profound sense of peace. Betrayal is a debt that always collects its interest. People who hurt others often believe that their cleverness makes them invincible, forgetting that truth has a heartbeat of its own. In the end, no one can truly build a safe haven on a foundation of broken trust and shattered hearts. I lost the life I thought I loved, but in